I wanted to make a short update here after a couple weeks off the job, you could say. A lot of just observing up here and watching things grow. We've got the mulberry producing mulberries, so that's super cool. It's been, very on and off these last couple weeks. The weather has been, very deceiving, very deceptive. It's been, this day it was super sunny. It was 80, 85 degrees in here inside the earthship greenhouse, and everything is growing super nice. The snow is melting all outside, and it's looking very promising, for being outside and getting ready to be outside. But that is the one thing with Montana is definitely do not assume things out here. I think it's best to step back and observe, and that's definitely what has I've done a lot of up here the last couple weeks is observing and doing little bits of work here and there. And that's been one thing since the snow had melted. We got the week of 50 degrees on and off cloud, but then it's nice like this. So I took time to do a lot of earthworks. So digging a lot of swales is what I had been doing. And I didn't really get a time lapse. I mean, it's kind of pretty boring, me laying the stick and watching me, level it out and stuff like that and lay cardboard. So maybe I'll get some more of that in the future. But this is a big thing that I have been doing just because of all the snow melt and because the ground has been soft enough to dig deeper trenches, so that's super nice that the ground really isn't frozen anymore. And now I've been able to, do all these earthworks, which included kind of diverting all of that road rut. You see the road rut there where we drive, all that snow melt comes down. And instead of flooding the driveway where the trucks park, now I've diverted it with a swale. And so now it's soaking into this first mound here. That's kind of the whole point of the earthworks and the permaculture aspects is to slow that water down as much as you can. And I've been able to use a bunch of old cardboard and old newspaper to lay for the mounds just to get some carbon in there and a little bit moisture absorbency. And this is what has been going on for these swales. This thing is super cool. It's been flooded out. There's so much water coming off of that road. Like I really can't help trying to get outside to capture all that ASAP. So that's a little bit of the time spent, as well as getting the greenhouses, the hoop houses, I should say, put up. This was just our cheapy alternative, supposed to be temporary and kind of built up, but we've got our PVC pipe and the clear plastic draped over with some clips. And that's essentially what it was to get ready for all these seedlings and all these plants, to be able to set them outside on the even nicer days coming into April here. But everything has been growing really nicely. This is the other part of the time well spent amongst the chaos is transplanting all of these seedlings from the trays into bigger pots. So lots of transplanting. The tomatoes are growing really big. All these peppers are growing super nicely and big, and I got to transplant more from those seed trays. So it's been super cool. We've gotten a lot more sun, so it's cool to see a lot more growth. And mind you, it's not like we have any grow lights going on over these plants or anything. This is just the sunlight coming in from the greenhouse. And we did start really pretty early, but it's been a whole lot of transplanting. There's 72 little spots in those trays, so multiply that by, a couple, maybe a dozen or so. And that's kind of the days when it's cloudy like this and it's windy and such. This is what I do. I try to do the gardening stuff inside. So I get my amendments. I work with dry amendments for nutrients and stuff. So I've got feather meal, humic acid, granulars, blood meal, all this stuff that's a lot of byproducts, which are really good amendments for the soil in the life. So it's just a part of mimicking nature. If I'm going to buy anything or use anything, it'll be these dry amendments and then also the compost that we mix up here. So just wanted to give insight on that. And honestly, too, kind of off that note, it's pretty hilarious how quick the weather can change, and that's another element of the weather we deal with is the wind up here that can be very brutal, especially on these, you definitely could say, chintzy hoop houses that weren't properly, secured down. So hopefully anyone can watch this and learn from my mistakes here. But there's definitely going to be a better way of hunkering these down and making sure they don't blow away, because yeah, this was pretty ridiculous to come out to in the morning. It seems nice, but the wind's just howling out here, and this was overnight just utter mess and chaos a little bit. But turning that negative into a positive, it's nice because the soil has had enough time to warm up and it wasn't covered with snow or anything. So it's nice that the chickens were able to come into the area and be able to scratch into it. So that'll be beneficial regardless, because we will be planting a lot of these things in those garden beds. So getting some extra nitrogen from the chickens. And, that's pretty much the gist, a little bit of what's been going on. I've been doing a little bit of stuff outside. I do want to get back to the side shed, and definitely shout out to the homie that sent out the box of screws. That was super awesome of you. I definitely appreciate it. Those will definitely go a long way for sure. So I'll definitely try to utilize those in many projects that will be going on this summer, hopefully. The side shed definitely being one of them. And if I can say definitely any more times, I think I might get on people's nerves with that. So I apologize. This is what, goes on. This is what's been happening the last couple weeks, the snow off and on, and just working with nature. This is what we do when we work with nature. We develop patience from it. So this is helping me develop my patience, you could say. But this is, what happens. One day it's warm and snowy, and then the next it's all melty and mushy. So I appreciate anyone that has stayed this far in the video and watching. There'll be plenty more updates coming here as the weather warms up. We've got more earthworks, more observations, and all that good stuff. So anyone that has stuck around, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it.